Hey, Ro.
What's going on, Mr. Screamin?
How's it going?
My God, dude, you have earned that name. Oh my God. And boy, do you ever set that thing free on this collection of music.
Yeah, I try to push myself into a zone where I'm no longer comfortable singing just to kind of torture myself. But
But isn't that what great rock is all about? Taking that vocal cord to an area that says, this is us, you can't copy us, but you can listen to us anytime you want to.
yeah, I mean, I guess it depends the type of music you're playing. Like if you're Ronnie James Dio, you're definitely doing that. If you're Margot, I'm forgetting her last name, from Cowboy Junkies, you're probably not doing that. But that's a whole different vibe. But yeah, I mean, I love doing that. And I mean, it does take a lot of prep and work. Like I'm doing vocal exercises every day. I don't mess around when we're on tour, with like late nights or too much reverie or anything like that, because if my voice conks out, before the tour's over, I'm in trouble.
Oh my God, I can so relate with that. That's the reason why I can't go to live sporting events, is because I get so involved in the game, and it's like, dude, you're messing around with your job. Stop.
I know it's hard to I'm a long-suffering New York Jets fan, so I try to limit my touring during football season, because even if I'm not at the event, I'm screaming at my TV, so it doesn't matter. To the point where I almost frighten my dog, or my dog at least looks at me like I'm an idiot.
You got to tell me how the song Cowboys in Nashville came into being, because I love the way that it starts off with that great screaming voice, but then you take it to a softer level. It's like two different genres in one place.
Thanks, Ro. That was a song that I wrote, at least I started to write it like maybe 15 or 16 years ago. Wow. And I just had it hanging around, and we needed another song on this album, East Coast, West Coast, in between. And I brought it to the guys in the band and our producer, Don Gilmore, and I said, I don't know, you think this one will work? And it was only like half as long as it is now. And they're like, yes, definitely, absolutely. So, I like doing the screaming thing with like a distorted vocal. It's just really fun. And then you can really have fun with the lyrics, because pretty much no one understands what you're saying anyway. And then I did juxtapose a little bit with more of a melodic chorus. It ended up being, I actually wrote the song before this album came out, but it sounds a little bit like in the vein of White Limo, a Foo Fighters track on Wasting Light. And they do that same kind of thing where like the verses are really raucous and crazy, and then there's a little bit more melodic parts in there. But I love writing songs. I think I might do more of that, just like over the top, screechy vocal thing.
You talked about the album title, and right away when I first heard about this, it was like I can just envision you being the front man at a live concert. You point to the east side, the west side, and when you go in between, and you go in between, and that whole place explodes. Is that where it comes from?
It actually comes from. So the way we recorded this album, much like our first album, just Fastest Land Animal, the first album was recorded right at the beginning and the height of the pandemic. So we couldn't play any gigs, obviously, and we couldn't go anywhere. We were all the three band members and our producer were all sitting at home, and we all have home studios. And I had this idea. So why don't we record an album remotely? We can all communicate over computer, and we can play our parts and glue it all together at the end. And so that's exactly what we did. So then we just did it again, just for convenience purposes, for the second album. And I'm a New York based dude, so I'm East Coast. Our guitarist, bass player, and producer are all West Coast based. And our drummer lives in Texas, so he's in between. So hence East Coast, West Coast, in between.
See, and that's what's missing from today's music, is that's the stuff you would find on the inside sleeve of an album.
Yeah, I love vinyl is my favorite way to consume music.
Yep.
And it's back now. It's the biggest, other than streaming, at physical format. Vinyl is huge now.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of that people miss the connection with having the tactile connection with holding holding on to something, reading it, looking at it, looking at the artwork. It's almost like you're watching a TV show or a movie or something.
Yeah.
It's just a lot more immersive. And as opposed to the convenience of streaming, I love the idea that I can walk around with an entire record collection in my, endless supply of music in my pocket. But I also do think the, 45-minute, 20-minute side each format of vinyl and the largeness of what you're looking at, the cover art and the lyrics, if they have the lyrics, that's just can't be beat. And plus it sounds really, really good if you.
Oh, it always does. Hey, I want to thank you for giving us that long intro on Rubber Hits the Road, because that really does set up my imagination before those vocals come in, because it's almost like I'm warming up my engine and then all of a sudden, boom, we're gone.
Thanks. Yeah, that was sort of this just repetitive chord change that I was doing over and over again. And I thought it might make a nice, last track or coda, as it were, to the album. There's something kind of haunting about it, and it just it's very circular. It doesn't really go anywhere, but that's like a cool, kind of drugged out sort of vibe, I think.
Yeah.
And I actually played. I have in my basement. I have an upright piano. And my studio's all the way upstairs above the garage, so I managed to run a really long wire and mic the piano, and I played like actual acoustic piano on that track.
See, that to me is where music is really all about. I mean, I've read stories about Steven Tyler singing in bathrooms, and I remember as a kid, I would sit there and mic up my amplifiers and then mic them up even more, because it was never loud enough. I wanted to be able to feel it.
Yeah. Oh, bathrooms have good acoustics.
Oh, yeah.
And I have an unfinished cellar that this piano is sitting in. It has a really interesting vibey sound to it, just reverberant and the sound waves hit the walls in odd ways. And we also played around a lot in this album, a lot more than the last one, with analog synths. And I'm just,
good.
I'm in love with analog synths. I mean, it's great to have the digital convenience of having every keyboard sound ever created in your computer, your laptop, or in your studio, desktop. But to play with those actual analog synths and to detune those oscillators and mess around with LFOs and white noise, and then play it, you're sort of playing it. It's a lot more. It's not MIDI, so you got to play the parts right. You can't go in and move notes around later that easily.
Well, see, that's what I like about having home studios, because it buys you time to explore. It's not one of those where it's like, okay, well, we've only got so many hours in here today. Let's go. Move it.
Yeah, you do finish an album a lot more quickly if you're paying money per day, and you've blocked out 2 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it is at a professional studio, and you got to do a lot of pre-production, obviously. Yeah. This was, we're all working from home. We didn't have to travel anywhere. We didn't have to get hotels. We didn't have to sleep on couches. We just slept in our beds, lived with our families, and recorded from home. And it also saved a lot of time. Like, I didn't have to sit there for 4 days or 3 days while the drummer's recording his parts and the mixing engineers EQing a kick drum for 8 hours. They did that on their own time, and then played the parts back. We all listened as a family, and then we would say, okay, change this, do that. Come back the next day with the things change, and then we're ready to go for the next part.
Wow. You have to know inside your heart that you've got a mosh pit monster here with the song next to you. I can just envision that crowd just ba 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 ba.
Thanks, man. I mean, it is a good song. I didn't write it. I've got to give credit to Sting for writing that song. That's an old Police song.
Oh, wow.
It's the first cover we've ever recorded. Occasionally we'll play a cover song live or end a concert with a cover tune. And the other guys in the band were like, we should actually record a cover. And I was a little resistant at first, but then I was like, most of my favorite artists throw a cover on. Bowie's usually put a cover song on all of his albums. Obviously, the Beatles, when they first started out, half their albums were covers. But so I couldn't think. I was trying to think of a song that I want to do, a Husker Du song that I want to do. Ramones song or a Stooges song. I definitely wanted to do something in the punk, maybe pushing the new wave era. I didn't want to play a classic rock song or something newer. Mm-hmm. And our bass player, Alphonse, came up with the idea, let's do the Next to You track by The Police, because we all know it, but a lot of people don't know it. I mean, we all know it in the band, but a lot of people will, like, some people might recognize it, some people might say this sounds familiar, other people might not know it at all. So it seems fresh and new and almost original, even though it's not. But so that was, and it's fast with, very
oh my God,
big,
yes.
a cardinal rule of all of our songs, because we are fastest land animal after all, is that songs have to be fast. So, and it also, has a scorching melody and a hook. So that's another really important component to the songs we try and write.
Speaking of that punk scene, Getaway Car, my God, I mean, I grew up in the punk era. You did this sound justice on this song.
Oh, thank you so much. It's, the whole concept of that song, lyrically at least, was this punk rock guy, and he just can't get motivated to go to his boring normal life. So he's just stuck, at home getting baked and not wanting to go to work, and just wanting to play music. And a lot of us musicians can identify with that for sure. And then the song came, I think it almost, the chorus almost has like a Chili Peppers kind of vibe to it. Yeah. Like the later Chili Peppers with like the big, thick, stacked harmonies that, so I want to, I want to do something like Cowboys in Nashville, that the verses were a little more dissonant and a little edgier, and then the chorus blossomed into something a little more beautiful.
The logo's pretty cool. It caught my attention right away. I mean, because that fan base they're gonna see that FLA and they're gonna go, yeah. I mean, it's like when Bachman Turner Overdrive went to BTO. It was like, yeah, they deserve it. Yeah, do it.
Or Kentucky Fried Chicken went to KFC.
That's
right. Or Stone Temple Pilots went to STP.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have it.
Thanks. I can't take credit for the logo at all. That's all our drummer Shark. He's a really good designer, and he's really good with figuring out how we can do videos and helping put together cover art and that kind of stuff. I wish I was better at that. I wish I was like a Jack White, where I had the whole vision. We're going to wear red and white. We're going to, pretend we're brother and sister, or pretend we're married, or we're really married. I don't even remember what the story with him and Meg was. And then, all our albums are going to have this certain look. I'm too busy, struggling to write lyrics.
Hey, I think your next song is going to be Blackout. I think that's the one that radio is going to grab real fast.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that, geez, I don't even remember. That's like a, we're super speed. You're going to just black out, for not necessarily from too much drinking or too much.
Right.
It's just from the insanity of life. And, I've have a lot of moments in my life when I feel like I can't handle this. There's too much going on.
Yeah. So what is the website where somebody can come and get some information? I know that you guys have got some merchandise and stuff like that, and listeners need to know that you don't have to wait for the concert to get the merchandise. Get the merchandise before you see them live in concert.
Fastestlandanimal.band.
.band?
.band, like rock band.
Yeah. See, that's perfect, because so many people are in this .com and .net world, and so when you said .band, it's like, yeah, we got to promote that big time.
Right, and also if you just Google or Bing or AI Google or AI Bing, now I think they have Fastest Land Animal, and then type in band, you'll find us. And we're all over all the streaming services, everywhere you consume music, everywhere you purchase music, you can find us.
Speaking of AIs, please tell me that you are putting this on a t-shirt, your quote, "We aren't a bunch of bots in an AI-ville."
I could do that. That sounds interesting.
Oh my God. People would wear that with pride, man, because the more and more this AI world starts taking over, you guys are proving that you're real, you're genuine. You've got the attitude and the transparency for your fans.
I know they're saying that AI can replace a lot of different jobs, like lawyers may be in trouble. You can write a song, write lyrics using AI. It's I don't know where we go from here. It's getting scary, but technology marches on, and we just got to keep up.
Yeah. I didn't see any AIs when I saw the Jetsons as a kid. I mean, come on now. I thought we were living that lifestyle.
I'm cool. I want a jetpack, and like a robot. But I don't know about the AI thing.
What about a tour? You planning anything like that for this year?
Yeah, we're going out starting in April.
Good.
I believe our first gig will be in Detroit, and then we're going. We're starting out in the East, going down south.
Cool.
And then
are you stopping in Charlotte?
Upward.
Are you stopping in Charlotte?
We are. I do not know that we're in Charlotte. We're definitely in Florida.
Oh, good.
And Detroit. I think we're doing a bunch of dates in the Rust Belt, and I don't know if we're making it to the Deep South, but we'll get there eventually. Yeah. And we've been there before.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, dude, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
I appreciate it, Ro, and thank you so much for having us. And keep rocking, brother.
You bet, man. You be brilliant today, okay?
All right, thanks, man. You too.
You bet. Bye, guy.